Good afternoon and welcome to the GCSE and A-level music advanced information update. Um, Session is being recorded, so I can share a recording of this afterwards. We'll give people a couple of minutes to arrive. There's quite a few people booked on, so we'll just give people a couple of minutes to get logged in. And then we'll start in a minute. Just for information as well, you should all have access to the chat where the slides for this session are shared as well. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do is just begin. There might be people join as we go along through the session at the beginning here. Just a couple of things to be aware. Obviously, this is over the internet, so connection problems may occur here and there. First thing to do is, if you do experience any connection issues, is to log out of the session and then try logging back in. That will usually fix most issues, and hopefully we don't experience any of that anyway. Next thing to say is the session is being recorded, so I can share a recording of that with everyone after the session, along with the slides. That will be posted on my YouTube channel, and then a link will be shared via the Pearson Music community page, where there's a link at the end of these slides as well to that page as well. And finally, there is a section for questions at the end of this. So I think as we move through, if you do have any queries, try and wait for that part to ask any questions to clarify anything. To do that, there is the chat function. So you can type any questions you have into the chat box, and then I will get to those and try and answer everything that I can. Okay, so if we begin, the agenda is just to give a brief overview of the situation so far, run through some information just generally around advanced information, how it can be used and what its purpose is. Then we'll go into the details that got released yesterday for GCSE and A-level music, and then there is time for you to ask any questions at that point as well. Okay. So an overview of the situation. there was the outcomes of the consultation for NEA that were published on the 16th of June 2021. The NEA components are not part of the advanced information and have their own separate arrangements that I'm sure most of you are familiar with in terms of the changes in requirements for the NEA components. So that confirmed that the arrangements that were in place for summer 2021 submissions would carry forward to 2022. And then there was the consultation on the arrangements for summer 2022 assessments that closed on the 1st of August last year. The outcomes of that consultation were published at the end of September, on the 30th September, and that confirmed that the exam boards would provide advanced information about the focus of the content of the exams for all GCSEs, AS levels, A levels subjects for summer 2022 exams, except GCSE English Literature, History, Ancient History and Geography. Then back in December last year, there was the guidance documents that got published, giving a broad outline of the information to expect that would come out in the advanced information. And then probably finally, after waiting for you, you got the advanced information yesterday on the 7th of Feb. Okay, so the advanced information is intended to communicate in advance some of the aspects of the specification that will be assessed in the exam papers. The information will detail the focus of particular aspects of the examination. So, for example, the content, context, text, topics, subtopics, themes, skills that will be assessed in 2022. In terms of music, obviously that's sitting more with areas of study and set works. It will support revision in time for the before the exams. So that's the intention of the advanced information, is to really aid the revision time leading up to the exams. And then advanced information doesn't require any changes to the question paper's usual structure. And that means that the exam assessments will be familiar to teachers and students. It will allow you to continue the use of things like past papers and past questions from past papers as well. And then it's supports student confidence in minimizing the unexpected in the layout and the structure of the question papers as well. Thing to note is that different qualifications require different advanced information solutions to maximize the value of the approach. Therefore, although there was a common approach across specifications, even within each subject, there will be particular differences depending on how the assessments work for that particular specification. So even across boards at, say, GCSE music, the advanced information will look different depending on the board, because the exam question papers work in different ways. So they will contain and look different depending on the approach there. The advanced information will not always detail everything that's in the exam as well. Sometimes that just isn't possible. The key principles around advanced information was to avoid providing so much detail that answers to questions could be predictable or pre-prepared and memorized. And it's made sure that advanced information doesn't undermine the value of the qualification in supporting student progress, doesn't directly provide answers to other potentially low tariff questions, or to compromise the capability of examinations to differentiate between the student's performance on the paper as well. So you can use advanced information from the point of release, and you can use that to inform things like preparing mocks and focusing the revision that you're planning with your students. It can be used flexibly by centres to achieve its purpose of supporting revision, but it shouldn't be used to narrow the teaching and learning. The specification content should still be delivered, and that's the intention around how advanced information should be used. Just to clarify, it can't be brought into the examinations, and it won't be at a level that allows the questions to be predicted or answers prepared. And presentation will take the most appropriate form for clear communication of that information as well, which I'm sure all of you have seen now as well. So you can use advanced information to develop revision materials. So you could produce focused mock papers using just the information from the advanced information. Use the advanced information to support the extended response questions, and then using past paper exemplars to support advanced information topics. So on this slide as well, there are links through to the past papers and mark schemes. I believe that goes to GCSE pages, but there's similar pages for A-level as well. And there's also some links through to some exemplar material on the website there. So for GCSE music, the advanced information is for component 3 only, and it identifies sections within the papers, sample content only for the areas specified in the advanced information. Broader study of music around the set works is still encouraged and will benefit students when answering the questions that relate to the set works. So for section A, the set works here are listed in specification order and not particularly in order that the questions on these will appear in the paper. So the advanced information includes J.S. Bach, the Brandenburg Concerto, Beethoven, the Piano Sonata, Purcell, Music for a While, Queen, Killer Queen, John Williams, Star Wars, and then Afro-Celt sound system release. It details that the music dictation question will be in treble clef, and also that the unfamiliar music question, the area of study will be fusions. And for section B, it details the set work and the area of study for the extended response question on the paper. So that is the area of study is music for stage and screen, and the set work extract that will be used on that question will be defying gravity. For A-level music, again, the advanced information will only apply to paper 3, component 3, the appraising paper, and it identifies the sections within the paper that will sample the content only for the areas specified in the advanced information. Again, the broader study of the other music around the set works is still encouraged and benefit candidates when answering the questions that relate to the set works, and particularly the extended response questions there in A-level music. So again, you get the information in section A that sets out the set works. So that's Clara Schumann, the piano trio. You've got Courtney Pine back in the day. You've got Bernard Herrmann, Psycho, and then it links the area of study for the dictation question to instrumental music. Section B, it gives the area of study for the unfamiliar piece, and that will link to the music for film area of study. And then it also gives details of the set works that will appear in section B, that are J.S. Bach, Kate Bush, Anushka Shankar, and Stravinsky. Again, in terms of the way the set works are presented in the advanced information is in the order of specification rather than how they will appear on the question paper as well. I'm sure most of you have accessed the files around advanced information, but again, on this slide, there's links through to those, and so you can access those if you need to. And really now, just wanted to open it up for any questions and allow people to really clarify things, and ask anything that they really need to. I can't answer all the specifics, maybe in terms of the questions that you have, but I'll try and do my best to clarify things. So if you do have any questions at this point, please type them in the chat box and I'll go through them as best I can. So we've got one in already that asks about, do we know if the dictation question at GCSE will test melody and rhythm? So in terms of that, for GCSE, the question paper will be the same structure as normal. So looking at past papers in terms of that, you would be expecting a question to cover melody and rhythm, in terms of that, looking at how the question has been presented in the past there. So will GCSE dictation be from a set work or an unfamiliar piece? So in terms of that, it could be from a set work, or it could be an unfamiliar piece of music linked to an area of study. That change was intended to be made for summer 2021 assessments. Obviously that didn't happen last academic year, but that's when the change happened for that assessment, and moving forward. It could be an unfamiliar piece linked to an area of study, or it could still come from a set work, so either or there. And that's for GCSE. Will there be a separate presentation for A-level music tech? Yes, there is one tomorrow, same time for music tech, and there are links to book onto that on the music tech Facebook group there. And I'll try and post that in the chat in a minute. Our set works that are not to be examined on the A-level paper be valid as other stroke wider listening. So yeah, so in terms of that, other set works that aren't asked as a question for, say, the extended response questions, it is perfectly legitimate to use other set works to support any relevant points that are being made in student responses there. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. Will there be any additional sample assessment material on the website for revision for the A-level course? I don't know of any plans to produce any at this point. So I would say that that's probably not something that would be likely to happen there. Just very quickly pasting in the link to the music tech session there, so that's just appeared in the chat. Just going back up to a couple of questions. So that's that one. Going back to the dictation questions, are those questions no longer connected with the set works, i.e. an extract from one of them? So in terms of that, as I think I probably answered that after you typed that. So they could potentially still come from a set work, or be an unfamiliar piece that is linked to an area of study. So it's the either or there. And there are some more resource materials to support the dictation questions available on the website as well for GCSE there. Which papers, sample assessments will remain locked on the website? From memory, the 2021 paper has recently become unlocked, and the 2022 paper will remain locked for now. I don't have a date of when that will become unlocked. So the November series for 2021 November series, rather than 20 November series. November 20 series has become unlocked. November 2021 series will remain locked for now. That's where I was going with that. So just to clarify, GCSE dictation definitely won't include recognition of chords. From off the top of my head, recognition of chords has come up in some questions, not necessarily the dictation question, but it can appear on the paper. For A-level section B, 30-mark essay, will there be an option of 4 possible essay questions to answer as in previous years? Yep, the change to the specification happened last year, where so A-level music had the change to the set works, which was a reduction down to 13 set works. The exam time was extended by 10 minutes, and it added in the 4th optional question for question 6. So therefore, those were all permanent changes. So there will be a 4th optional question for question 6 in A-level music. Someone asking about sample assessment material released for GCSE, as define gravity hasn't come up as a comparative analysis before. Again, I don't know of any plans to produce that material. For now, I would say it's unlikely that would be produced, but it's certainly something that I can raise as a question. June 2024 GCE will set work stay at 13. So yeah, as I just said, the A-level, that was a permanent change made to the specification. So there are 13 set works to study, and the 5 that were moved into the list of other music. So they are still there and valid to study as pieces of other music that can feed into supporting the arguments that students are making in any responses there, which I think possibly moves on to the next question that appeared there. Now 5 of the A-level set works have been removed. Could additional past paper questions be provided to replace those on these discontinued works? as we have smaller than usual supply of past paper questions. Okay, doesn't lead on. I just saw about the 5 set works. Again, that's something that I can raise to see if it's possible with the team, and I'll try and see if that's somewhere that some resources that could be produced or not. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but we've noticed that all the teacher support info regarding NEA seems to have vanished. Details about announcements and how to upload. When will that information be available again? Are we looking in the wrong place? Let me very quickly have a look, because I thought the administrative support guide was back up online for that. If you just bear with me 1 second, I'm just checking things like that. So, yeah, just going to pop into the chat a link to where the admin guide can be found for A-level music. Okay. And just trying to go back through the list of questions there. So, and going back to A-level question 6, choice of 4 questions. I assume you mean they will get a choice between 1 question on Bach, 1 question on Kate Bush, 1 on Shankar, and 1 on Stravinsky. So in terms of the structure of the paper, that isn't changing. So in previous series, you do get a question on different set works for the question 6 there. So that would be the expectation there as well. So the structure of papers and the way questions appear wouldn't be changing there. So in A-level, I thought centres are marking, performing and composing this year. But okay, so in terms of A-level NEA, there was from the consultation from DFE and Ofqual, there was the option to allow awarding organisations to choose between external assessment of the NEA components or having centres mark the work and it be moderated. We, as an awarding organisation, chose to continue with the normal process for A-level music that is in place, which would be the external marking of the components there. So sorry, I'm just looking at the question that you've posted there. So for GCSE, it remains teacher marked and moderated, whereas A-level is externally assessed there. So one of the reasons for that, at least, is for the the consistency with the approach, and that the team of examiners are trained to assess that work, whereas standardizing teachers from all the centres would require quite a lot of work and training put in place to ensure that teachers are supported in that way as well. So the approach that was taken was to continue with the external assessment of performing and composing. I hope that answers your question there. Just see if there's any more questions coming in. I will quickly pop down to the next slide where there's my contact details. So there is a link through to the contact portal where you can submit any questions. There is the email address that you can contact me on, teachingmusic@pearson.com. There's a phone number to call up and get through. And there's also the link there to the community page. So if you aren't already a member and joined up to that, please do so as well. That's where I do post the links to these recordings and slides and things like that as well. It's also a place where you can ask questions and get things clarified as well. While we're here as well, I will just stop sharing that screen for a minute and go to this one and continue sharing this screen here. And just to sort of point you in the direction of a few things. So on this is the A-level music page. You've got the link through to the admin support guide for this year. I was made aware about that it contains information about announcements and applause and things like that yesterday. So we did confirm that announcements aren't needed on the recordings there a few years ago. And the thing with applause is if there is applause in a performance, please do record it, keep it on for A-level music. But if there isn't, don't worry too much about that either. On this page, under the teaching and learning materials, this is where all the latest detail can be found and all the support material around summer 2022. So you've got the advanced information, you've got the guidance document for the advanced information. There's some guidance around remote monitoring for composition as well there. And then there's the general assessment guidance for the NEA components there as well that you could find useful. Obviously, there's exemplar material. Under the exam materials, you've got all of the past papers and audio to access, along with mark schemes. So all of that material is there to help support you. And if I back here and go to GCSE, we have all that same sort of material available there for GCSE as well. So you've got all the past papers with the audio. You've got the admin support guide and the forms for submitting NEA. And then again, under teaching and learning materials, you've got like the exemplar material and then all the support material around summer 2022 as well. So hopefully that covers everything, and I hope it's just cleared up things for you, and how and when you can use the advanced information to support your students to help them prepare for summer 2022. So really, just like to say thank you very much for attending. I hope you found it useful. But if you do have any further questions after the session, please do email me, and I hope everything goes well for your students in the summer.